This is Fieldsports Channel News. Queen guitarist Sir Brian may think that the show must go on, but not everybody's a fan of his part in a new BBC documentary. The musician is fronting a programme which explores the use of culling to control the UK's badger population, halting the spread of bovine tuberculosis in cattle, which they carry. The show is called Brian May, The Badgers, Farmers and Me. It goes out on Friday evening, the 23rd of August 2024 on BBC Two. The Countryside Alliance has already criticised the BBC for choosing Sir Brian as host. It says the programme breaches impartiality rules because of his previous campaigning to ban badger culling. Recent figures from DEFRA show that bovine TB has declined by 56% since culling began. Under the new government, DEFRA promises to end the badger cull, but has given no date for when. Some believe the Brian May TV show is a softening up process by the BBC ahead of the announcement of a date. Farmer Gareth Wyn-Jones is involved in the show and had this to say about the broadcast.
The only thing I've got to do is congratulate Brian May for bringing this into the forefront again, because it's opened that conversation. But hopefully, whatever they put on that programme does have scientific backing. Because, if you're trying to give somebody a solution, I think it has to be backed by scientists, and not just one vet, by many vets that believe this. So we'll wait and see Friday night and see how things come along, and hope that we can see an end for this awful disease for not just the cattle, the family farms, but as well hopefully we can help wildlife as well, which is the hedgehogs, the ground nesting birds and the bumblebees.
Chris Packham has escaped punishment from the police and the BBC. Packham said customers of Barclays should stick their heads in buckets of petrol and set fire to themselves. The comments were at an anti-grouse shooting event and led to widespread media criticism. Derbyshire Police confirms it had also received a complaint, but say it is taking no action against him. The BBC says in an official statement given to the Daily Telegraph that it isn't taking action as Packham is a freelancer, not an employee of the corporation, and that he isn't on air at the moment. Packham has used the freedom the BBC is giving him to record a video for social media attacking trail hunting.
I'm watching Chris Packham's latest video delivering accusation after accusation against a hunt for animal abuse and even trespass. These charges do not come from the police, they come from hunt saboteurs, and which is worse, this is hate speech. If Chris Packham stood outside a church or a mosque or a travellers camp and said those people in there are guilty of the list of the following crimes, he would be arrested. Why is he not being arrested for doing the same to a hunt and its followers?
Does someone have to die in a Morland wildfire before DEFRA changes the rules and common sense prevails? That's the question being asked by a leading conservationist. Richard Bailey took these video images at Meltham in Yorkshire a week after a huge fire took hold in the bone-dry heather. It happened on a moor previously managed for grouse shooting, but has been left unmanaged since Natural England banned gamekeepers from carrying out controlled burning. It took several days to extinguish, with firefighters from across Yorkshire involved around the clock. A discarded disposable barbecue started the blaze. Following a wet summer in 2024 and a building up of fuel in the UK's uplands, Richard fears it's only a matter of time before there's another blaze, with the potential for a much more serious outcome.
At some stage, the penny has to drop with these organisations and government and say, this policy is not working. We cannot keep going by with these wildfire events. At some stage, the only thing that will change it is when, a human being is severely, cause damage to him or life is lost.
One of the world's oldest gunmakers has fallen foul of Meta's social media restrictions. John Rigby & Co. of London has been making and maintaining stalking and hunting rifles since the 18th century and even supplied one to Sir Winston Churchill. Facebook has suspended its page, making it the latest victim of Facebook's parent Meta, which has done the same to numerous other field sports organisations operating legitimate businesses. Rigby says it is working with Meta to find a solution. You can find out more about this issue later in the show. A new free deer stalking course is open to applicants. Available to 20 deer stalkers, it's aimed at those wanting to take either the PDS1 or PDS2 certificate offered by the Shooting and Hunting Academy. The offer is open to people based in the High Weald around Sussex, Kent and Surrey. There are 10 funded places on each level of the course. Those taking part will learn key elements of deer management. If you're interested, get in touch before the offer closes on the 13th of September 2024. The link's below. Staying with qualifications, and in Scotland, anyone with a PDS1 or DSC1 could be paid to shoot deer. The incentive by Nature Scot will offer cash to stalkers with their own permissions to shoot deer. The cash is available to stalkers in an area south of Loch Ness and in the Central Belt. Worth £70 per animal, the scheme applies to female and juvenile deer. It starts in the autumn of 2024 and runs to March 2025. For more on how to take part, there's a link below. They've already spent nearly £8 million to eradicate stoats on Orkney. Now the RSPB-backed project has been given a further £4 million. Stoats like this one have been identified as a major threat to wildlife on Orkney, where they were first spotted in 2010 as invaders from the Scottish mainland. The project to remove them employs 40 people and has culled more than 6,000 of the animals using traps and dogs, a cost of more than £1,300 per dead stoat. The new money comes from the Heritage Lottery Fund and the Scottish Government. Thanks to Orkney's Darren Pickover for the video which shows a stoat taking its 6th rabbit in a week. New research in the US directly linking deer stalking with increased gun violence has been described as the most poorly conceived study ever published. The Second Amendment Foundation has discredited the research paper brought by the Journal of the American Medical Association. The study uses data gathered by the Gun Violence Archive, which says it has recorded spikes in gun-related crime in the US coinciding with deer hunting seasons. The SAF say the study is fundamentally flawed because the only source quoted is unbalanced and describes the data as ludicrous. And finally, it's time to announce the winner of our fundraising raffle for the professional game chiller. The Landig LU900 is a neat unit for any stalker or smallholder with a price of £2,370. We offered you the chance to win one for a tenner a ticket, and the winner is Greg Parkhouse from Lincolnshire. Thanks to refrigeration specialist Fisher UK for providing this prize. The money raised goes to help with the running of our news output across all our platforms and generally making mischief. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.